FD channel right now.
It's very flattering that people are calling us the West Coast Nationals. I don't think we're there yet.
Who are you rolling with?
I am rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
I feel like I see less patience in the hobby today. And I want to get your thoughts on it. When you hear of the large dollar amounts now around PMGs, what do you think?
What it takes for someone to spend that much money on any card.
Fanatics did something tonight I had never heard about. They have a lottery.
We got you on the line.
Oh my goodness, we're both on the line.
Hey, Nick, you got to let me know who you're rolling with.
I'm rolling with FD.
I don't think that the fact that they did V-Friends and Jackass is going to have any impact on how they treat sports cards.
So I asked you, FD, since we're rolling with FD.
Let's roll, man. What's up?
I never would have thought a little piece of cardboard would change my life the way it has the last 4 years.
And the hobby is alive and well.
Alive and doing very well.
Alive and well.
You got to let people know who you're rolling.
I'm rolling with FD.
You got to let the people know who you're rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How we doing? It's Thursday. Usually I'm not on Thursdays, but I have special guests here today. It's October 20th, and we have Cousins Collectibles on. What's up, y'all?
What up, what up, what up?
FD.
What's going on?
Oh, we rolling now. We rolling.
That's right. I've been wanting to talk to y'all for quite a while. There are a list of people. I say this almost every other episode. There are a list of people that we put down that I really want to talk to, and you all were at the top of that list.
Wow.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We didn't know that, but much appreciated.
Oh, yeah. Well, where are you all located at? Where are you located?
So we are about an hour west of Philadelphia. We're in Reading, Pennsylvania. But as you can see, our fandom is, pretty Philly based. So, okay. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're in Reading.
Y'all want to kick this off? Y'all want to talk about the Eagles? I see Eagles on chest. Y'all want to talk about the Eagles?
Oh, you know it. You know. So you want to talk about the Eagles first?
Yeah, y'all think they're the real deal?
Is that a real question?
Yeah,
I mean, they're the only undefeated team.
I'm here in LA with my binoculars on, and I'm just looking. I'm going to see what y'all thinking now. Y'all homegrown up in there.
Yeah, listen, man. This year, it's a surprise because we really didn't think that. Not that we didn't think, we just needed to see Jalen Hurts do what he's doing right now. It was a make it or break it year for, I believe, Jalen Hurts and even the coach, just to see if we could continue the momentum. We got to the playoffs last year and we got blasted. We weren't ready. And we really need to see if Jalen Hurts could step up, be the quarterback that we need to, not just with his legs. He's very intelligent when it comes to, being a quarterback, but we needed to see that arm. And I think we're seeing it, especially with the additions, of
all the receivers, man.
Yeah, man. Ooh. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, so Quez Watkins. And, it's the offense. I believe that we can stick with the best of them. And the biggest surprise is the defense too now. Because the biggest, because the defensive coordinator at first, I was like, man, what's this guy doing? He wasn't getting any pressure, wasn't sending anybody. It was just all let me lay back and, killing us with 1,000 cuts. And now he's bringing some heat. So it's like we got something cooking in Philly.
All right. Yeah, I've seen some things. The last couple of games, they come out and made a statement early in the game. It's interesting when you look at Hurts. You look at Tua and you look at Mac Jones and how all of them was fighting for a starting position. And now you got Hurts like really showing who he is, his ability. I hope that continues. I've looked at your schedule also. I haven't seen any threats in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's the only thing that it's like we don't really know how good they are yet. Because I mean, I'll be honest, like they haven't been tested.
Wait. Last week, we played America's team, bro.
That's true. I was saying last week,
Super Bowl champs every year.
You played America's team, but you played a young quarterback that you put some pressure in his face, and he kind of
that young quarterback was undefeated though. I was hearing a lot of talk from them.
There was a lot of chatter. Do you need him a Dak? There was a lot of chatter.
Yeah, but that's just that's a rivalry game though. Anytime that. Both teams are going to get up for it. But yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a little bit till they see somebody. But hey, you can only play who's on the schedule, man. So it is what it is.
It's true. At some point, you might have to come across Tom Brady, though.
Let's get it.
Tampa
Listen,
Bay could be back together.
If Tampa keeps doing what they doing, they might not make the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. Just Giselle got into Tom's head. And I told Tony.
It gets better later now. Don't
I told cousin Tony when he took that little break in the preseason when he went off trying to save his marriage. I was like, Tone, I don't know if this guy's gonna be right. He's coming back, and there's gonna be problems. Tony's like, nah, I'll never count Tom Brady out. And you can't, but there's definitely there's trouble in paradise down there.
That's true. Yeah. Demetrius here. Demetrius, I went to high school with. He said, "Big ups, cousins Tony and Oz. We rolling.
We rolling.
We got Ziggy in the house, and cheers, great guest and host.
Nice, Ziggy.
And we got the great curator in the house. I'm on the Eagles wagon.
We got some killers on here.
I didn't know Dan was an Eagles fan.
He is now. Let's go.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, so let me step back and ask you all about the hobby now. So let me know, how did you all get interested in the hobby, at what age, and what sparked the interest? And kind of, if you're PCing people, who are you PCing right now?
Yeah, I'll let Oz go first because he kind of one ties into the other. So
yeah, I mean, of course, it's the same old story. Started as a kid. I believe I was like 13, 14 years old, 7th, 8th grade. And I was collecting basketball because I played all sports, but basketball was my thing. I honestly thought I was going to be in the NBA, growing up. I was like, man, you're watching Charles Barkley play and Michael Jordan and all those cats. And I was like, this is my sport. So obviously back then we were collecting cards, but we really didn't get the concept of it. We were just collecting them just to have pieces of Barkley and Jordan. We were going back. We had the Locker series from back in the day, the Jordan and all that stuff. Yeah. What was big too back then was I don't know if you could see the Larry Johnson, the classic cards, so those were the things. Junk wax was what I was collecting. And then my biggest purchase, I remember, my cousin had told me the one time, my other cousin, Los, the collector, he was like, hey, bro, we really didn't know anything about hobby shops or anything like that. Anything that we got was, from Woolworths and just packs, no such thing as buying boxes and ripping. It was just maybe getting a pack if we were lucky. And I was working at the time. He's like, there's this dude. He owns a furniture place, but he sells cards out of the back of his store. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, it's like 3 blocks from here. Just go there and just let them know you're looking for sports cards. I was like, that sounds kind of shady, but I'll go check it out. I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. So I got there and he's like, yeah, you looking for some cards? I was like, yeah. He's like, what do you need? I said, basketball cards. So he went to the back and he came out with this box here. I don't know if you could see it.
Hoops. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the price he had on it for $75, a 1989 hoop set. And that was with the David Robinson, the rookie card.
Yep.
So this was like my first big purchase. I had to save up my money. I gave him like $30 just to hold it. Came back with the other 45. And so that was my main big purchase. Then went high school. After that, started college, went to Penn State. And I stopped collecting. And I'm 40.
I think we all did when we went to college.
Yeah. So that, I'm like 20s. So now I'm 40, 2 years ago, right when the pandemic started. I'm in my 40. I'm going to be 47 November 1st.
Oh, I'm 47. Whoa.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So we some old heads up in here.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Representing though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was actually hosting my nephew's baptism party here. Me and my brother were down here in my basement here, and he started talking. The topic came up, sports cards. At that time, everything like in the news, everything was popping off, all them big sales and things like that. So it just came up, and I was like, bro, I think I got some cards still. So I went to my back room where I keep all my stuff. I pulled out my blue box, and I had all this junk wax in there. And I was like, man, he's like, bro, you might have something there. I was like, yeah. So after everybody left, I came down here, started, when you go on, you have no idea about comps or anything like that. You're just looking, you put in Michael Jordan, 89 hoops, and the prices that were coming up, those first crazy prices that you see was like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. I was like, oh my God, raw cards. And if God forbid they were graded, they were like 15, 20. I was like, bro, called up my brother. I'm like, dude, I am paid, son. I've been holding on to these cards for over 30 years. I'm good to go. Not knowing that it's all junk wax, but that's how you learn. And after a while, I got everything together. A buddy of mine was collecting, and he did baseball cards. He did vintage. He was another mailman, and I'm a mailman, by the way. Cousin Oz, the people's mailman. So
thank you for your work, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I went up to my boy Corky and I was like, yo, I got all these Michael Jordans, bro. I said, you got to see my binder of cards. And he was like, yeah, bring them in. I'll check them out. So I was swearing up and down that I had thousands and thousands of dollars that I was paid. He looked at it. He's like going through it. He's like, and I was like, so what do you think? He's like, yeah, everything looks good. He's like, you got about $18 right here. I looked at it, I said, bro, $18, what you talking about? I was online, that's like $500,000 right there. He's like, nah. This is junk wax, homie. And he went through the whole spiel. And that's when I was like, man, I had to go down the rabbit hole and figure out what this hobby's all about. Got some money now. I'm gonna do this right.
That's right.
And I started collecting little by little, sneaking down into my basement, my wife not knowing what I'm doing. So I'm getting all these cards and, I'm just down here looking at them, enjoying them. And I was like, man, I got to get me a partner. And that's when I hit up cousin Tone. We were watching the Sixers the one day and I sent him a couple pictures of my Julius Erving cards and some of my Barkley rookies. And he's like, what's that? I said, those are my cards. He's like, bro, you got those off of Google Images. Don't even play, son. I'm like, nah, bro. I said, these are real cards. He's like, you're collecting cards. I said, yes. And I said, you're going to be collecting with me too. And he's like, nah, that's a Ponzi scheme. And I was like, nah, bro. And then I'll let Tony talk about the rest.
Yeah, so basically and it's actually what we're doing right now. So it's during the Sixers season. I'll never forget. And usually during the Sixers game, which is happening right now, Oz, myself, and my other cousin, who's he's angry. He's always angry. He's the most angry Philadelphia fan I know. And we're going through this back and forth. And he sends a picture of these cars. I'm like, dude, whatever, man. You're not. That's stupid. And he's like, watch, I'll show you. So basically, the next picture that followed was Cousin Oz laying on the pool table, holding a card in his boxers. And I'm like, dude, what? I was like, okay, I believe you now. So long story short, what I mean? He kept, talking about the cards till I finally gave in. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And, here we are. And as far as what I collect personally, it's twofold, two players, basically. It's Roberto Clemente and Randall Cunningham.
Oh, great. Oh, wow.
So that's, so one is one extreme to the other. One is, coming up. I mean, I got this is who I grew up on the 80s, 90s Eagles. And I actually just started collecting Randall. At first, when I first got in, it was Jordan, and you learn quickly that, you got to have deep pockets to be in that Jordan pool. So needless to say, that ship has sailed for a little bit. But and then it's just now I'm doing Clemente and Cunningham.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. What about you, cousin?
Yeah, it started with Allen Iverson. So I had to look again, same thing. I was like, man, I'm gonna do this right. Michael Jordan's the way to go, and we'll get into that a little bit later when we start talking, about goats. Yeah. But again, those prices, we're not millionaires. Again, I'm a mailman, so I'm making decent money, but I ain't making that millionaire money. You know.
I agree. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I can only get the junk wax Jordans for Gem Mint 10s that I could afford. That's about it. So Iverson was the way to go. That was my man growing up, and so I said, let me all the '90s inserts that Jordan's famous for, the jambalayas, and and all those. I'm still working on trying to get a PMG. Them Jones are expensive.
Yeah.
But that's
what's cool about the hobby though. I always love that you can collect what you like. Both of you have talked about the players that you like, and you can always work your way up to something that you desire later. That's what's cool about the hobby. I'm from Chicago. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't have a lot of Michael Jordan in my collection because of what you just talked about. I mean, the prices have always been beyond where I was at the time. Yeah. And I had to just come to grips with that. Like, at this point, I could go out and buy 86 Fleer in some grade. But I always ask myself, I believe in a maturation model that I don't even really share with a lot of people on how cars go. Cars start out a certain way. Like there was a story about the Steph Curry National Treasures out of 99. That car is over $1 million right now. And for probably about the first 4 years of his career, that car was $500. And every car goes through that. Every car that we can think of, there was a Luca BGS Gold 9 that just sold for $400, I think $25,000, something like that. I can remember, I know the person who purchased it when that car was a lower 5-figure car. So everything has a maturation cycle to it. When do you want to jump into that cycle is what I think about. Yeah. And sometimes if you can find the right player, we all know if you really want cars to go to the stratosphere, it's about finding a certain player and riding that player out. We're all looking for that player. And in the meantime, we're collecting who we like to see play. When you talk about Roberto Clemente, the film that I've seen, the man is legendary. What he stood for, what he died doing, he didn't have to do. Randall Cunningham, I grew up watching.
Man.
He's a phenomenal player. Even when Randy Moss got a little bit of taste of that when he was in Minnesota, he's a phenomenal player. You know what I'm saying? Then we started talking about Allen Iverson, who revolutionized a lot of the game, a lot of swag in the game that players have now. I hope they know where that came from.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what the hobby's all about.
Yeah. With the Randall thing too, it was when he got that taste of Randy Moss, it just, to me, it cut deep because our coach didn't care about that stuff, man. He was defensive. Buddy Ryan, Chicago, I'm pretty sure and he didn't care. And man, when I saw him in Minnesota, I'm like, oh man, I mean, we had Chris Carter, but Chris Carter was not the same person.
It was not the same Chris Carter.
He's a different person. So, but and just, you asked us, what the pride of RPC is, and my two pieces, the one is, and it's not a game worn, but it's just something that I have one jersey in my wardrobe, and it's the Randall Cunningham jersey with the Jerome Brown patch, and I was able to find that. Yeah, it's a 101, and it's not game worn or anything, but when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I gotta have that. And there it sits. And then this, the Roberto Clemente, it took me, like you said, you talk about the maturation process. It took me a while to get to this guy, but there it is. And like you said, it's just now I look at these two pieces and they make me smile, and that's what the hobby's about. So
that is what it's all about. Let me jump to talking about sports now. I know you all said something about the 76ers being on, and whenever I hear something about the 76ers, I think of James Harden. So a few weeks ago, before the season started, Doc Rivers pulled James to the side and was talking about him being a leader and a true point guard and passing the ball and creating greatness in others. Do you all think James Harden has the ability to do
that? As a 76ers fan, I would love to say yes, but I haven't seen it. No. And there's been times where you can see glimpses of it. The greatness is there. We don't need him to score 40. No. We got enough scores. We need him to be a solid point. Get me 20, 10, and 10. That's what I always say. Get me a triple double, because he can do that. He can do that.
He definitely do that.
But the offense it begins and ends with Joel Embiid. Joel got to stop messing around on the perimeter. He's not KD. Nope. Get your ass on the block, and it got to go in, and then it got to go back out. And that's how the offense needs to be. But it's too hodgepodge. One time it's Joel messing around at the top of the key. The other time it's Harden with the, solo dribble, which is nice. He can bust somebody up and they can bust their ass. Like I think Marcus Smart called it. He shot an air ball.
He shot an air ball, though. He shot an air ball, man.
He did
the shimmy.
Man, they shot an air ball. It's like,
you got to finish that. I mean, but regardless, he did. Marcus Smart did get it. But we don't need that, man. Like you said, we need the ultimate point guard in order for this team to succeed. And I haven't seen it yet. And I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Who I'm excited about is Maxey. I think Maxey's a player. I think he's going to be a future very, very good to almost great player in the city of Philadelphia if he stays there. But he has a lot of talent.
Yeah, I think with him is to use Oz's line, it gets a little lost in the sauce sometimes, because I mean, Harden's going to demand the ball, and we knew that. Like, that's how it goes. He's going to, that ball, he might hold that ball for 15, 20 seconds. So the thing with Maxey is when called upon, and that's the same thing with Tobias Harris, you have a very small margin for error because you're not going to get many opportunities. But when you do, and it sucks because, how you get in the flow of the game and stuff like that. But, I mean, he shows flashes. It's just a matter of getting him into the flow of the game, which is, I don't know if we're, with the way the team's constructed now, I'm not sure that's going to happen too often, but.
So I always like to talk strategy with people on how they go about buying cars. Could you all share just some of the thought processes that you go through and maybe things you look at, or what's your A to Z? A, I'm thinking about buying a car. Z, I'm about to make this purchase. How you get there?
For me, it's, and I learned, it's funny because I think when you learn the hard way is the best way to learn. Like, I mean, you got to make those mistakes early on, be it you're buying stuff because you think that it's going to be worth $1 million later on. And you learn that you didn't even like the card. So that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, man, I'm like this Clemente. Before I bought it, I easily looked at 500 copies. Just I learned that card. I became obsessed with it, to be honest, and but obsessed with learning about it, learning what to look for, what not, things like that, and the values. Obviously, you want to learn that,
Yeah.
and education is it's huge, man. Avoiding those emotional buys. Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you will see, so okay, but damn, just you gotta really step back, think about it. But yeah, I think like the longer, the more methodical you are about it, the better the purchase is probably gonna be.
I totally agree with you. I can look at stuff. Some people say, well, FD, you may look at things too long. But there's some cards I've tracked for over a year.
Listen, we just went on vacation, me and the wife, and I'm notorious for going to the shop, the show, whatever, and not buying anything. And we went into the Loop store it was in Miami, and we walked in, and I'm looking. I left, nothing. She goes, "You never buy anything." I was like, it's just I can't explain it. Like I don't know. I'm very particular about what I want, and I think it's better than just going in there all willy-nilly and just making it rain.
I think that's one of the best policies I have. I like to go to shows sometimes and turn the buy-in side of my head off and just really look around, look at cars and ask a lot of questions and see what I learned today. Because every show I go to, anytime I'm around cards, anybody I'm talking to, there's going to be something I'm about to learn that day. I never walk around thinking I know everything about football, basketball, soccer, boxing, cars, anything. I don't know everything. So I'll start asking questions, and then somebody tell me something. I'm like, oh, really? Then you kind of put that into your memory index, and you keep that so something else comes up.
Yeah. And for me, especially, I have to be moved by that particular piece, whatever it is, whether it's a card, whether it's memorabilia, whether it's a Funko Pop, whatever it is that I'm interested in buying at that time. If I look at that card, I gotta get the feels for it, and it has to just like catch my eye. There was certain things when I was at the National, cousin Tony and I, we were walking around for 2 days straight and we didn't purchase anything. And then I just came across a Julius Erving and a Bill Russell, and again, this isn't nothing special, but they just caught my eye. Like this is the Julius Erving. It's a die cut, and it's has his all-time 4 signatures, so it's gold signature there. And the thing with this, he's in his Massachusetts uniform, so I think this was 2013 Upper Deck, and I believe they had lost their license at the time for basketball. I think that's when Prism, Panini, and then the Bill Russell, and this was the day before he had passed away. So I picked these two up. I'm going through case by case by case, and they were next to each other, and they just caught my eye. I was like, damn, those signatures in the gold, the die cut.
Sorry.
You're right there.
Tony's all good.
I was like, ooh.
So, yeah, they just caught my eye. So that's how it is. It just has to be something that I know that if I buy that particular item, when I take it home, I'm be like, yeah, that's dope.
So let's talk about, we alluded to this earlier, but let's talk about the word GOAT. So you both watch a bunch of basketball in life. When you think about GOAT, who comes to your mind and why?
It's MJ, baby. That's it. That's it for me. There's no debate. Everybody, I mean, in my opinion, he's the standard, and it is what it is, I mean, these new guys, I get it. And I guess, the knock on Jordan is, he played against plumbers and less athletic people. Well, the guys that John Havlicek played against, so athleticism, I'm sure that the guys 20 years from now are going to be way more athletic than the guys today. So that's all relative to me. But, I just think LeBron, I mean, LeBron's cool. He's good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he might be number 2, but he's not number 1 to me. And then, you talked about Kobe. Kobe was one guy, man. I always say, living on the East Coast, I didn't get to appreciate as much as I should have. His games are kicking off at 10 o'clock at night, and it's not happening, man. I gotta get up in the morning to work. So yeah. But for me, it's Jordan, and it's just guys 6-0 in the finals. I mean, countless whatever, but it's just I mean, the sneakers, the clothes, all that. It's tough to argue because everybody who's doing it now, he was the first one to do all that stuff.
It's almost like they take a little bit of Mike.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I mean, Kobe, man. I mean, it might be sacrilegious to the guys in the West Coast, but I mean, it's almost like a clone. His moves and stuff. I mean, so.
Yeah, no, Kobe would have told you. He did everything that he did was he wanted to be the best. So how do you be the best? You look at who the best is and you copy it. And you said he was a carbon copy. There's two people that I look at that just have the ultimate killer instinct. And number one, MJ, period. Okay, there's nobody touching his killer instinct. When he was on the floor, he was looking to rip your heart out. And second to that was Kobe. And I love LeBron.
I agree.
But LeBron does not have that killer instinct that these two had. At times you can see it. It'll come. You'll be like, okay, all right, I see you, LeBron. But the consistency of Jordan and Kobe, when they got on, those dudes were killers. Even Allen Iverson had that killer instinct. It's just, he was 6'1" and $175.
Yeah. Dude, the other night when the Warriors are smacking the Lakers and LeBron's over there joking with Draymond, bro, you think Kobe or MJ would have been doing that?
It's I think sports is just different today.
Yeah, it's different, but
there's something different about it. Because when I saw that, I was like, what are the Wiggins was sitting there on the bench. Like, what are these guys thinking?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, how can you, like, if anything, like, you're the leader, like, so you're getting smacked. And I look over and the best player on my team is joking with the other people from the other team. So it's like, and how you gonna come at me to be like all I can be or whatever? I'm like, bro, you were just over there just talking with these guys. Like, if you don't care, why should the rest of us care? So it's just again, that's all. Like I say with that killer instinct, that stuff, that's all got to go away. I don't know.
What do y'all think about Steph Curry and the legacy that he's building, and what he's done in the past, and probably what he's about to do in the future?
Yeah. I always get into arguments with people because I say, listen, to me, Steph is top 10, easy, when it's all said and done.
Oh, Oz, I agree with you.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out, you crazy. You're crazy. And I'm like, nah, bro. He changed the game. He literally changed the game. You got kids pulling up from half court because of his ass. It's like, when I played in 8th grade, there would be no way in hell
no way
that I could pull up 2 inches behind it.
Recently, I went to there was a card show, and then afterwards people play basketball. So I was just watching how people warm up. So now people warm up shooting a three.
Yeah.
And back in our day, man, you were warming up with free throws, something in the paint, something mid-range.
Layup.
Yeah, layup, off glass, you doing something. You just pulling threes, warming up. And that made me think of Steph.
Yeah. He said he changed the game, man. So a guy that changes the game in a game it's hard to change the game now. It's hard to do something that people really haven't seen for the most part, other than jumping high or stuff like that. But dude, this dude's pulling up from inside half court like nothing, and kids are seeing that and doing it, and eventually it's gonna probably lead to the 3-point line move even further back. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's top 10. That's easy, man. It's.
And when I look at the Warriors now, they're almost, and they showed it the other night. They're probably gonna show it again tomorrow. They're really running two teams.
Yeah, bro.
So they're gonna run people off the court. Like you could see in the third and fourth quarter, the Lakers were winded.
Yeah.
Because Steph goes out, Poole comes in. Wiggins goes out, Moses Moody comes in. I mean, it just never stops.
Yeah. Dude, and Wiggins was a forgotten soul, man. And we wanted Wiggins here, and and then
that was when Simmons. It was Simmons, and we wanted to go before we were talking about Ben Simmons. Is let's go winless for Wiggins. The whole process and losing. So those years, that's all we were hoping for, was to get somebody that could be a game changer. And unfortunately, we got Ben Simmons. And
what do y'all think of Ben Simmons?
What do we think about Ben Simmons?
I want to know this. Talk to some Philly people.
Listen, bro. Everybody from Philly gets a bad rap. Fans get a bad rap. They say we're the worst fans ever, and we're just ruthless, and we're boo at anybody. We'll throw snowballs at Santa or batteries at JD Drew, whoever all these stories. Yeah. The point is, when you're in Philly, and what I think in every town, you just want your players to give 100%.
Yeah.
Right. And each year that you come in, you should be improving. And if you're a number 1 overall pick and you told me and people were comparing your ass to LeBron James, your ceiling. That's what I'm not saying you're gonna be LeBron, but at least show me something. And then when you're here for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and I'm watching you in warm-ups before we get into the season, preseason, you're hitting 10 threes in a row on some, one random video. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's gonna start shooting. Then the season starts and you're back to your BS, passing the ball. You're doing your thing. You can get your rebounds, get a couple dunks here and there, and some nice assists, but you haven't improved your game. Then it's like, bro, and then forget it when you get to the playoffs, and then you shrink, and then you become a liability. And then the nonsense that went on last year, I don't even want to get into that.
you saw in Brooklyn first game. I mean, they got smacked.
He's fouls out and just
he got 4 points.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think he was
like 30 minutes. He played like crazy number of minutes,
something like that. He was just he was probably always the biggest kid.
Yeah,
and now he got to the league where everybody's the same size as him, and you can't bully anybody anymore. And so far he has shown zero desire to get better, I guess. I don't know, or maybe that was the best he was going to be, and it was never going to be anything more than that, man. But our thing is we're big on effort, man. And when he didn't take that little layup over, little Trey,
that should have been a stuff,
bro. And then that was the beginning of the end.
So what do y'all think of Zion Williamson?
It's funny, man.
Let me tell you what I'm thinking up front. He likes to jump and leap. He's a ESPN highlight. He'll tip dunk. He'll dunk. He'll do a layup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a jump shot. I saw him in the preseason second game warm-ups. He was shooting jumpers with a trainer. I haven't seen that in the game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wonder, how long can this guy play? Jumping and bounding.
It's a big boy. First of all, that's a lot of weight. And he's very athletic, dude. High school, I remember those dunks. I'm like, man, it was insane. It was like Charles Barkley on steroids, like that big of a body to be able to get up that high and to do those things. But like you're saying, as the years go on, his body, he's been getting hurt, and it's just going to keep getting worse with breaking down. And he's going to have to develop, those ancillary things, being able to shoot jump shots, being able to post up and, work it. And once that jumping ability diminishes a little bit, is he going to be the same player? He could be that Sean Kemp type of player, just explosive as hell, but how long is it going to last? And if you ain't got that jump shot, then you're going to be has-been. But I tell you what, the card market is ready for some Zion.
Well, see, this is a question I was going to ask. So we sit here, we break down Zion. We're like, man, this got these jump shot long-term. I know that the card market today is a lot of short-term activity, but why do you think the market is so excited about a player with limits to his bag, as we say?
Yeah, I don't know. They're so I don't know. If you have your card, sell them now, because he might not even play another game. You never know what that do. But I don't know. I think the market's so hungry. He was so hyped, and the kids love him. The kids love that.
They love him.
They love him. They love him, man. They love that. They'd rather see him, go 2 for 16, but those 2 be crazy dunks.
Mm-hmm.
And kids love him and they want to buy him, and it's just one of those things, man. That's a whole nother thing with me, man, where it's just like, yeah, there you go, Blake Griffin 2.0. Maybe.
Listen, in Blake's prime, though, Blake was a beast.
Hey, I was at the Clippers game where he had the microfracture injury to his knee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting way up top, and when he went up and came down, I told my roommate at the time, this guy's got major problems. The way he was walking to the bench, and I just, I love players like Zion. Love to see him. Love Ja. I just hope that they take their game to a place where they can use their body when they need to, and they use pizzazz or a jump shot or something else, finger roll, something to have less contact. So when Steph Curry first came out, I said to a lot of people, he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
And people said, why? So because the game was too physical for a guy that small. But I never envisioned, because I'd never seen it before, like we talked about, a guy who's going to extend the court and make the game. I can make this basket right now. I don't even need to engage you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how he's elongated his career.
Yeah.
This is what I want to see. Not to that level, but the mid-range, man. The king of the mid-range right now is Kawhi Leonard. He'll mid-range you all night until you get 35 points.
What's homeboy from Chicago?
Oh, DeRozan. Yeah, he'll mid-range.
DeMar's a killer too.
He's a killer. But you don't see that game, and a lot of players is coming out of college, or even it looks like even aspiring to do that.
Nah, it's the three, baby. The three and the dunk.
It's a three and a dunk. Yeah, it's running gun, three and dunk. Play no playing of defense.
No defense. No, okay. Let me bring up a name. LaMelo Ball.
Jason Kidd at best.
And now I know some people who's like, man, he's gonna be the face of the league when LeBron retires.
Nah.
I don't see it.
But listen, I didn't want to get into this topic because you have a question about it. But my thing is narratives in the hobby period, whether that's in baseball, or basketball or even football, just prospecting period. And the amount that people pay for these cards, these rookie cards. And I always tell Tony, the pay does not match the play. These guys, you're paying exorbitant amounts of money, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. And if God forbid you get, National Treasures rookie card with the patch and the whole nine on card auto, 50,000, 80,000. And these dudes never won championships.
Never.
They might have made one all-star game. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what?
Don't play
and then you have the GOATs and not even touching those types of prices. And the hobby's upside down. And I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's different.
Yeah.
I remember I tell this story sometimes a couple of years ago. Excuse me, when Lonzo Ball was still in LA. I went to an autograph signing of Kareem. Kareem was there, signing autographs. Few people in line. I think when I was there, he may have had 35 people in line, something like that. And he's charging whatever he's charging. The very next weekend, Lonzo Ball is at the same place signing autographs. I didn't go, but I saw video of people wrapped around. I mean, people were wrapped around. And his autograph was like double or 2.5 Kareem's.
Insane. I think the only thing I guess that I would combat that point is like, all right, so if we were back in 1995, whatever, we would be feeling about those players of that day the way the kids are feeling about LaMelo and stuff like that. So sometimes, I mean, like basically, okay, would I want Larry Johnson's autograph or would I care about like I don't know, some Moses Malone, right? If you compare the two at the time, it's not even night and day. Moses Malone, way more accomplished player, but I would have stood in line for Larry Johnson. So I mean, I don't want to be the old man on the porch because it's but it's, I guess if I was in the same situation, as a kid, I would probably be doing the same thing. But
when you all think about Tom Brady, is he the GOAT for you? Is he a good player that played in a great system in New England? Did Belichick make him more than what he really is? What do you all think?
I think with Tom Brady, once he went to Tampa and won another one, I think that solidified his GOAT status. Up until that point, I believe that, with Bill Belichick and the defenses that they had, and at every, if you look at 90% of the Super Bowl games that he won, they were all decided by like 3 points. They could have went either way. And the tuck, the tuck fumble, whatever, that shouldn't even made it. So you can't take away. He won the game, and once he got to Tampa and won another one, I was like, okay, it was Joe Montana until that point. And then he won that other joint at Tampa. I said, okay, I'm going to have to finally give this dude the respect he deserves.
Yeah, I agree. That was it. I was like, that's it. Tip of the hat. You got it. And now he's the standard. I mean, and man, for somebody to catch him, it's going to be a minute.
A lot of football. People
it's going to be a while. It's not. Yeah, like
a lot of football, man.
Yeah, for sure. And guys like, the Mahomes and the Josh Allens of the world today, with the way they play, it's probably going to be tough, man, to play as long as Brady. And I mean, and Brady could probably play again next year.
He said something in the press conference today. I don't know
yeah.
if he's playing or what, but he's not retiring.
Yeah, he said, well, now he ain't got to worry about Giselle. So now it's like, I got 3 more years in me. So,
yeah, I think he'll play until the wheels fall off, man.
Yeah, I believe it. But that's another guy that I talk about, the killer instinct. Tom Brady has that. That GOAT level status where he gets on that field and he refuses to lose. He hates to lose.
What took him to GOAT to me is that when they played the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm at a coworker's house watching the game, and they're down 20-3, and I'm like, you know what? Let me get home before it gets too late. I get in the car, I start driving home, and I'm like 5 blocks away from the house. And I said, let me turn on ESPN radio and see what's the score, like what's up, see what happens. And when I turn on the radio, the ESPN commentators are going crazy. And I was like, man, Atlanta can't be blowing these dudes out. And then I started realizing when they started telling the score, and like they really couldn't even talk. That's how crazy they were going about how the Patriots had came back on that. And at that time, the clock was ticking down. They won the game. At that point is when I started thinking Tom Brady is the GOAT. Because I can remember a time when Peyton Manning was still playing, and him and Tom were going against each other. Yeah. Well, I thought Peyton Manning was better.
Yeah.
And I had a friend tell me, "No, man, no, you got to really concentrate on what Brady's doing. There's no way Peyton Manning is better than him." And I think over the years, he has proven just who he is and how he gets down. It's amazing to me. So let's talk about the hobby going forward. I think it's a difficult question that nobody has the answer to, but I always like to see what people think. When you look at the hobby, 2023 is coming up. We're in 2022. 6 to 12 months from now, what do you guys foresee happening? What's going to be going on in the hobby?
Well, I see prices still falling. And actually, we were talking about this last night to Oz. I was like, you think that people will continue to buy? People are still buying despite, but are they now going to, I think people are going to buy at they're going to feel they got a bargain and then just hold. And you're not going to see some cards. You're just going to put them away. And you know what? I'm going to wait till the next uptick. Because we were talking and Oz is like, yo, there's a lot of Iversons coming up that weren't available. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, man, you pick them up now, you just sit on them. So I think we might see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's already going on right now.
Yeah.
Like when I go to card shows, there's some cards you do not see. And if you ask somebody about them, you'll hear someone that's selling say, "Oh, that's at home in the safe."
Yeah.
So they agree. I also agree with you about prices continuously going down.
Oh yeah, I think that's just starting now.
A large part of that year. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think these next couple months, like you said, it's going to be, I don't know when the dip is going to end, honestly, whether it's going to be previous to what it was pre-pandemic or if the floor has been set. But there has to be, I believe there's enough people that there's going to be a spark, and whether that comes from fanatics or something outside of the hobby or influence or something, but something that's going to cause a growth. Whether it's going to be 6 months, 12 months, I'm not sure, but we definitely need something to spark it. And I don't know what that's going to be, but I believe it's going to happen eventually. So I like right now, you got to buy the dip. Now's the perfect time to get those cards. Like I told Tony, man, there's cards that I'm seeing right now that I'd never thought 2 years ago that no way in hell that I would even be able to get that. And now I'm like, oh my God, I can get that card right now. So get what you can get. And you know what? Even if it doesn't go up, if it's a card that you love, you're going to have a banger in your collection, and it may not be worth nothing in 6 months, a year from now, 3 years, 5 years, but just every time you look at that card, that card's off the hook, and eventually it'll go back up. But now's the time to buy in that dip.
Yeah, I kind of think if a card is rare
and
it's from a player that is improving or legitimizing their GOATness or striving to do more. I always look at the resume of a player. Are you good on your team first? Are you consistent in what you do? Are you an all-star? Are you a Pro Bowl player? How many times have you been there? What happens in big games when you go to them? Do you disappear, become cast with a friendly ghost? Or do you step up? And when you do step up, do you help win? Do you minimize mistakes? Then you start looking at longevity, talking about Pro Bowls, talking about playoff appearances, talking about production. We talking about all-time yards or completions or receptions or home runs or whatever it may be in the playoffs. Reggie Jackson was missed October because of what he did in the World Series.
Yeah.
When you start building up that kind of resume, then that's when I'm really paying attention to you. So some things I may move on early. I have a philosophy that there are some players and some things that I may move on later because I got to find out more about that player. Some of the players we've already talked about today. Got to find out more about them. If you look at a Joel Embiid, you look at a Jokic who is dominating right now, and you look at Giannis, all of them are big men, but they're all players that need time and season to get to where they are. Now, who foresaw that? Who foresaw Giannis in his first 2-3 years doing what he's doing now? Embiid was drafted hurt. I mean, I watch old drafts on YouTube all the time. This dude sitting in his living room in street clothes, hurt doing the draft. Who thought he was going to be a baller? When he used to say trust the process, I used to say like this dude's never going to work out. You guys think Jokic got drafted second round? That was a ticker on the bottom of ESPN. You never saw that guy. You never saw that. So these are some of the top players in the NBA right now. Then if you go back and look at the draft where Klay Thompson came out in 2011, you look at the draft in 2012 with Draymond Green, you even look at Steph's draft in 2009. There's some players drafted in the first round that aren't even in the league anymore. They haven't been in the league for years.
That had $10,000 RPAs.
That's right. And they will continue to. There'll be players right now that we're looking at that have $50,000 cars, and then you'll look up and be like, "No, I hope nobody bought that."
What happens to those people and those cards, man?
I think they just vanish because you never hear about them. They kind of just fade away because you don't hear.
Is that Homer Simpson meme where
just right back into the bushes? You just never know. Ooh. That's why I try to put the work in. Now we all can't get it right.
Yeah.
But actually, you never know an injury, you never know what can happen. But I try to put the work. Like Amari Stoudemire, I thought was about to be the bomb.
Yeah.
He had a bad knee injury. It was never right after that. And if you're jumping and bounding a certain way, and you take that one, anybody that's been an athlete, you take that one leg away, your whole game is different.
Yeah.
So I just, I just hope over time, because the question comes up, LeBron is about to be out of here soon. I give him 3 years, maybe.
Gotta wait for the kids to show up.
That's right. Gotta wait for the children to show up. Steph can't play forever. Kevin Durant can't play forever. And we're at the time right now in the NBA, like who's next up?
Yeah, this might be that transition time when it was. Remember, you had like Stevie Francis, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, like decent players, good players, but not nobody who was
not a face of the league.
Yeah. So it might be coming up, but
I mean, Ant-Man looks good.
Yeah, I was about to say, he could be.
Okay, you brought up Ant-Man. This is what I think about him, right? Great athlete. He reminds me of when I say this, like I'm talking about the strength he brings. He reminds me of a Dominique Wilkins kind of.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yep, Dominique.
Like the strength that he brings from a dunk or how he's coming at you, probably with a better jump shot. But can he put a team on his back? We haven't seen it yet.
No, it's early
in his career. But can he put a team on them shoulders and carry that team?
Yeah, I mean, John Morant could do it, but then that health comes into question. Can he sustain at that level with the way he plays? There's guys out there that have the potential.
That's right.
And that's that's the thing though. It's not like before when players had potential, you could get their cards early and then you could watch that potential go. Now it's like as soon as they come in the league, they score 30 points one time, their market is through the roof. Yeah, there's no getting in on it early unless you get lucky and pull a 1-on-1, out of some break somewhere. So it's tough to get in early on a lot of these players nowadays just because of the way the prospecting is.
You talked about breaks. Do you all jump in on some breaks, or do you open wax, anything like that, or do you go after the car you want?
Yeah, no breaks and no wax. Yeah, I just bought wax and I got waxed. So Cousin Tony ain't buying no more wax.
I agree with you, man.
Yeah. So it's definitely a singles plays. Just if the hobby wasn't so upside down, then like I don't I don't understand why. I mean, I do, like you said, but like give us a chance, man. Like why does that product got to come out and be $2,000 off the bat? I mean, if you put it at $5,000, you're still gonna sell it. And maybe you might get more people to buy it and more people to engage instead of just, dude, all these big wax dealers, they're sitting on a lot of stuff. I don't care, they're moving stuff, but they're still sitting on a lot because you just.
Well, rookies drive wax, right? And a lot of these rookie classes have not been great,
right?
You don't have to the talent. You may have one player in there.
Right.
Well, I think a lot of these places or companies are finding that, we got to move this wax another way. Do we do more breaks? Do we lower prices, or what do we do? But people are not running to buy, most people, let me say, to buy cars at that amount with the rookie classes out there. Like, I haven't watched Cade Cunningham. I'm committing myself to Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham this year. I'm about to find out who they are right now.
Okay.
But the hobby is they pick Cade Cunningham as the rookie to talk about.
Yeah.
Is he
I
really?
say they got no choice, and that's not a great choice. He's good. Does he have potential to be great? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that killer instinct from Cade. He has good games every now and then, but nothing to the point where you're like, man. With John Moran, you can see.
Yeah, you can see it.
There's certain players you can see it, but the new guys coming out. Who's the young guy that he had 25 and 5 rebounds, 5 assists, first player to do that since like LeBron James? What was
last
that?
night?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He's a rookie.
Man, I don't know. My question though, so when the threshold for a National Treasures box, let's just say it's $1,000. It's obvious not. It's more than that. If it's a crappy rookie class, they don't drop that price. It is what it is. So it's just, again, it goes back to the prices just don't make any sense.
And even on those more expensive boxes, sometimes it still pays you to go after the player that you want instead of opening boxes and hope you find them.
Yeah.
So I go strictly off single cards that I want. I've opened myself up now to really analyzing raw cards and try to turn raw into a graded card. But I'm all about looking for particular cards. Like there's nothing that ever comes to my mind about, unless I'm having fun with my sons. Let me buy a box and open it up. Unless I'm having fun with them.
Yeah,
then I don't care about what I'm pulling out there.
And that's how I told Tony, like back in the day, we didn't have enough money to buy boxes. So we never ripped cards like that, or bought a box and came home and was ripping cards on Christmas Day. That stuff never happened growing up where we grew up. So it never became a habit, and it's not something that we're like, man, I wish I could do that. I remember when I was a kid, we don't have those nostalgic feelings when it comes to ripping wax. To us, it's like, I like that player. Let me get, the best card I can get, and a single for that particular player. Real quick, the dude I was talking about, Paolo Banchero.
Yeah, from Duke.
Paolo.
Yeah, Paolo. Paolo.
For Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando. He had 25, 5, and 5. Like, he was the first player in like NBA history besides LeBron, I think, to have his first game start out like that. So keep an eye on my man. Right now.
He's a player. He has a body on him. He has a decent jump shot. He has some dribble. He got some handles.
There you go.
He could be a decent player. And he had that where he went in for the dunk over someone.
Yeah. He dunked right on his head. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so you all went to the National. Was that your first National?
Yes, sir.
So tell me what you all thought. What was your experience like? And I'm not talking about, whenever I ask people this question, it's not like, what did you think of the National? Was it good or bad? That's not what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
Well, thanks to John Newman from the Sports Card Nation podcast, we actually got to be our first National. We walk in and we go right to the main stage to talk hobby. So that was definitely an experience, to say the least. It was fun. We got to sit up there and talk. But when you first walk in that place, it's like, wow, man, sensory overload. And the biggest takeaway I took from that, aside of I was able to get the Clemente card there, so that's something that's always gonna stick in my memory. But like just seeing Oz get cards and things that blew his mind away, and our other buddy who was with us, Neil, that the three of us sitting there and having a real good time and cheering each other on and helping each other and looking like, yo, look, this card and this card and this card. I was just as happy when my man would pick up a card as opposed to just me. Like that was the biggest takeaway, and meeting people that we've engaged with online.
Yeah, I saw you all meeting a lot of people, several different pictures.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me. The cards, you can go to card shows and you can see the cards, or you can go on eBay and you can get whatever you want. But when you go to the National, the Super Bowl of the hobby, like John puts it, it's like you know, the big wigs are gonna be there. You know, the Gary V's. You know, got to meet him, which was pretty cool. But like all the guys that we interviewed, it was our main mission was to, you know, meet them, give them a pound, get a handshake, get a hug, take the picture, and just finally put a, you know, face to face with that person that you talked to, that you've gotten intimate with, you know, online, and talked about those things. The great curator, you know, just people that we, you know, connected with, and building those networks. That was the biggest thing for me, was doing that. So it was pretty cool.
Do you all collect or buy Star Wars cards, or like Pokemon or TCG games?
Actually, yeah, I have 2 Star Wars cards. I dabble. I've it's in kind of it's on my to-do list. It's just it's one of those products where I have to learn it. Just because, you know, I don't want to make mistakes. I definitely want to and actually that product, I don't really get too hung up about values and stuff like that. Like the 2 cards that I have, they're just shiny ones that I just think they look cool, and they're sitting on my desk. So I don't think I'll ever get too involved in the high end stuff with Star Wars, but it is stuff that I do have. You know, it's on my to do list, because I just think the artwork looks crazy. Like it's cool. That's the killer for me. And you know, you don't have to worry about Darth Vader, you know, tearing an ACL or none of that stuff. So I mean, if you get the right ones, I guess, you know, there is, you know, money to be made if you're into the flipping game. But to me, it's more about the artwork. So it's definitely something I do look forward to adding.
Yeah. As far as me, I mean, no Star Wars, but I am starting a little a Black Adam collection there. So that's his rookie. So I got a couple other cards, you know, with him. And then when we first got into it, me and Tony, you know, as far as TCG, we never did the Pokemon. For me, that wasn't, you know, when I grew up, I wasn't doing Pokemon. That was years after I did that. So we tried to get in a little bit of the meta zoo. So we got some Cryptid Nation. So we invested in a couple boxes of these. You know, obviously don't know where that's gonna go. It's not like Pokemon or anything, but I know it is what it is. You know, just collecting things you like. And then of course anybody that knows me knows I'm a big Stranger Things.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I got the Millie Bobby Brown auto on the comic book there. So that's basically what I'm doing. You know, when it not so much the TCG, but the alternatives, Stranger Things, and you know, Black Adam and things like that.
I know I've heard a lot about Stranger Things cards as well.
Yes,
inserts, low print runs, autographs.
Yeah. We just submitted. We had a big submission to PSA, and what happened is at the National, I'm pretty sure you heard about the promo cards that they had for the Stranger Things there. They had the vending machine, so I got the whole set. It was a set of 20 cards that we just sent to PSA to get them graded. So I'm waiting to get those back, and my daughter's already claimed them. You know, so.
Okay.
She's a huge Stranger Things fan. I was like, you know, those are Daddy's cards. She's like, nope, those are my cards. So she's 11. You know, so she loves 11.
Claim it. We got YTFP Chris and Hey FD Tony Oz.
What's up?
He says I have a bit of everything. Just pick up what appeals to you. Yeah. But that's is really what it's all about.
True that. Absolutely.
When we go back to talking about NBA, when you think about the NBA Finals next June, what are some teams you think will be there from the West and the East?
Well, it's tough to pick. Tough to pick against the Warriors, man. They're just like, man,
machine.
And, yeah, it's a machine, and I mean they'll be, you know, the season's long, things will happen, but given everybody being healthy and everything like that, it's just tough. But I think, you know, the Clippers, and you're out there, maybe you can, you know, if they get it together, they got everybody back. You know, so just they're kind of in the back of my mind. Like, if anybody could maybe give them a little bit of a run, it might be them. And on the East, I mean, my heart says, you know, the Sixers. Hopefully, maybe, but I mean,
they just lost.
Oh well, all right. So there goes that.
They played Milwaukee Bucks. They lost by 2. They were up by 1, and the dude hit a 3-pointer to take the lead, and then there was a foul. So they ended up losing 90-88.
Well, are they 0-2 now?
They're 0-2 to start the season. Not very good. Yeah, but they played 2 of the best teams. You know, they played Boston. So out of the East, you know, Milwaukee's gonna be tough. Boston's gonna be tough. And Tony, like you're saying, you can't. Like Golden State, it's Golden State's to lose. That's period.
Right now,
Yeah, barring no big injuries.
Yeah, exactly. But when you got, even like Draymond gets a lot of crap, but that he's like the glue that holds that all together, And when Draymond's there, and then you got Curry and everybody else doing their thing, Poole and Clay, it's an unstoppable machine, man. That's just
looking at some stats. So Harden had 31 points tonight, shot 13-24 from the field, 1 for 7 from the 3-point line.
Ooh.
And then Embiid and Maxey had 15 points.
Yep.
That's really all the scoring they had.
Yeah. He was 6 for 21 Embiid.
Yep, 6 for 21.
That's tough, dude. That's tough. He's I tell Oz all the time, my biggest knock with him, man, he's just like, I don't know if he's a hypochondriac or what, but I mean, every time, it's grimacing and this and that. I'm like, bro, like, come on, man. Like, not every time you get touched, why, like, what's always with the grabbing and the grimacing? I'm like, come on, man, just play ball, bro. Cause I'm like, dude, you're the biggest dude on the floor.
He's always complaining. But the thing about him, I hope he realizes that I think he lost MVP last year because of his shooting percentage. So when you come out and you have a game and you're 6 for 21, you can't say on the back end, like, I want to be MVP.
Yeah. Now you gotta come out every time, and that's a debatable MVP. Like, I love Jokic. Like I give Jokic crap just because, Embiid's my guy and I'm from Philly. And I don't know if that dude deserved back-to-back MVPs. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got one. So last year, Embiid should have got it, because neither one of them won the championship.
I agree.
So if you're going to go, Embiid led the league in scoring. Embiid balled his ass off before he got hurt in the playoffs. Even when you saw when he went out and then he came back against who was the squad of Miami, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And it was a whole different, the team was totally different with and without him.
Yep.
One player I do like that you all picked up is PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, I'm following PJ Tucker. I've always wanted him to go to Golden State. That'll probably never happen because of salaries and things like that. But the way he plays defense and how he carries himself, is very special.
Yeah, we need to get some of them soft players out of there. So he plays
soft with a capital T. Right? So my son Junior wants to say what's up to y'all. He said, "Dad, Tony,
what's up, Junior?
Yeah, it's good to have Junior in the house."
Yes, sir.
So card shows in your area. I know you all go to the Philly show, but tell me about card shows in your area. Kind of, LA. I would say that comps are really big. There's probably not too much vintage here. I think there's probably more in Philly. And we're talking about probably younger players that are out here and seeing their cards. But tell me about what you all experience when you go to shows.
Yeah, the Philly show is definitely the biggest show in our area. It's actually coming up again, and it's first weekend of December. And that's a pretty decent show. And they actually moved it now to a bigger venue. So it's easy, parking's a little better and stuff like that. And that is definitely I shouldn't say definitely, it's changing a little bit, but yeah, a lot of vintage, a lot. There's, dealers that have been there 20 years, stuff like that. And, they still have the same spots. So, I mean, if you are a vintage collector, that's definitely a show to check out just because it's heavy and I know a lot of people there and pretty decent vibe. The last show, like I said, it was in a newer venue. It was a little different because in the past it was in a casino and it felt more intimate. And I mean, it was just jam packed, so it was nothing but intimate. You know what I mean? So, but but it is a cool show. And it's this last time they had it. The last two times they've had trade nights too, so that's starting to which is starting to be a thing, and so they've jumped on board with that. But there is the other show that, and I'll let Oz talk about it, which is actually in the city of Philadelphia. The Philly show is not even in Philadelphia. It's like an hour away. Like, so, if you're going to the Philly show, it's not in Philly. So, so just before you jump in and get a hotel and all that stuff, check out where it's at. Cause it's not, you get a hotel in Center City, you're going to be a little out the way.
Yeah.
So, but I got it. So
yeah, the Fishtown card show is the other one. Brett Kazatsky, he's the promoter for it. And we were able to get into it. One of our boys, Delco Rips, he needed some guy. He got a couple tables and a couple dudes backed out. And at the last minute, he sent an Instagram thing out. Hey, I got some tables at the Fishtown card show. Is anybody interested? Just hit me up. Tony hit him up. And we never we were just collecting cars, so we were never dealers. And Tony's like, bro, do you want to get a table? I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't really have any. I got my PC. I don't want to sell. I just got all these Iversons. I don't want to sell them. That's really all I had, other than the junk wax and things like that. He's like, nah, we're gonna go do it. Let's get that experience. So I was like, all right, cool. So we hit up Delco Rips. He's like, yeah, come on board. We got there. And Brett, what's cool about Brett, the way he runs his shows, he's a DJ.
Okay.
So he has that music playing in the background. So it's a whole vibe when you walk in. You got the music playing. He got a little bit of everything going. The the wax, and then he got the younger players. He got the vintage. He got the TCG. The Pokemon. So you got a little bit of everything there. And it's not as big a show as Philly show, but the vibe and everything that goes along with it is dope. So I love going there, and again, it's in a casino as well, but it's actually in Philly, so it's a pretty cool thing. And I know it's like, dude, I watch you guys over on the West Coast. It's like a way of life for y'all. There's like a show like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, show all the time.
Yeah, it's like crazy, and I'm just like, what's going on the West Coast, yo?
It's a show all the time.
Do they
you may have 2 or 3 shows.
That's crazy. Do like comp wise, like you said, comps are high. Like so. How does it all work? Like, so I mean, is the same card 4x in Cali than it is in Philly? Like, how does it?
That's what I always wonder, because here conversation is general. Like,
Okay.
if we were talking about a car, one of us are probably gonna pull up the comp, start talking about it. That's not the final number, but it's gonna come up. But I've heard of some other markets where no one's really talking comp.
Okay.
And it's about what there's a number that's brought up, but it's not referenced to something.
I got you.
And in those markets, I always find that conversation interesting. But that's why I kind of asked the question, because here, that comp number is going to come up. People are going to talk about it. Somebody could buy a car under comp. Somebody could buy a car over comp if they really want. But that's going to definitely most likely be a part of the conversation.
Okay. Yeah, the comp games definitely, you see everybody with their phones out, stuff like that. I actually heard somebody the other day. I wish I remember who it was. He said something to the effect of, you have your eBay comp, you have your Facebook comp, you have your Instagram comp. It could all be the same card. And sometimes he goes, just because you run the eBay and you pull up that comp, that don't really mean nothing to me if I'm dealing on Facebook or whatever. So
I've learned recently, it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
So as far as I've looked at, you see a higher price on Instagram. On eBay than you will on Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, something like that.
Yeah.
And if I'm talking to someone, we don't have to worry about eBay's additional charges.
Yeah.
That might be a totally different conversation as far as total cost.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you start learning that as you become more experienced in the hobby, because the first thing most, when you start learning at first, you hear about all these apps that have the comps, and people bring, all right, here, this is it. Well, that's not necessarily the gospel once you start, learning the hobby a little bit more.
Another thing I've learned too, if you find someone selling a car and they don't care for the teams, like I got like a 3rd year Jason Tatum Prism, I think out of 35, got in like Boston.
Yeah.
He told me whatever you want to pay. I tried to be like realistic, get that, to help the overall situation. Also, what does someone buy in at? Some people tell you that.
Yeah.
And then they're not so much onto what is that comp. They just want to be taken care of in the process. So then you may find a deal.
Yeah.
But if you just ask some questions, man, you don't, it's not like prying into their business, but with some general questions, people may give you some information.
Yeah,
I used to work in sales, so
bro.
just general questions.
Yeah.
So I see you like the Phillies, or I see you like the Eagles, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I hate so and so." Oh really?
Those are what you call probing questions.
Probing. You gotta find out how this person ticks. Every time I go to a table, I try to find out something about people my own way.
Yeah.
I think it usually helps you. And then I'm all about too. I want to say this. I want everybody to hear this. I know you already do this. It's all about relationship building. Okay. I'm not trying to stick a person for this thing of water. I'm trying to build a relationship with this person so I can get a lot of these things of water, variations of this water, and then water that comes out in the future that we don't even know about right now.
Yes, sir.
And if I let people know what I like and what I really collect, because I'm a collector probably at heart. That's how I came into the hobby. I get excited about collecting certain things. So when I let people know what I really collect, I probably get, today I got 2 Instagram messages. I probably get Instagram messages on the average every day about players that I really collect. And people know that. So they'll hit me up and say, well, you know, Oz is selling this card. Tony is selling this card. This person's selling this card. Are you interested in it? Then I'll hit the person up if I am.
Yeah.
There are also people out here, let's say you see a great card that you like, and you don't have all the dollars right now. There are people that are willing to work with you. If you just tell them that, you know, this is what I collect, this is my personal PC. And when I tell people that, that's what it really is. I'm not just saying that to then go over here and sell the card. This is what I really, and then people get a reputation. They know when I come to their table, there's some people that know, oh, I know you're looking for this player or this player. I don't have any right now, but I'll hit you up when I do.
Yeah.
And when you start building that kind of relationship, man, it's almost like cards can come to you.
Yeah. That's huge, man. We talk about that all the time, man. Like the hobby is, I always say the hobby is big and small at the same time. So if you're going around and burning people, word's gonna get around. You can't. You're not gonna be able to hide. You're not gonna be able to hide too long. But yeah, I mean, I collect. I dabble a little bit in Iverson stuff, but every time I see it or Stranger Things, right away I send it. I'm like, I probably already saw it, but I'm like, yo, here it is. Look, check this out.
Now that I know, I'm gonna get y'all up because I was just at a show over the weekend and saw a Randall Cunningham card with a piece of jersey with like 1 or 2 other players.
Nice. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and you know, and that's
people, and I see this stuff. Oh yeah,
we need that. We need those West Coast deals.
Yeah, right. That's what it's all about. Like I was talking to some people that, you know, that maybe in Atlanta, maybe other places, and they look for cards in different markets because there's a benefit for them.
Yeah.
Like I would love to go to another state and look for some Golden State Warriors stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're figuring those secondary players, not, you know, Steph, Draymond, but you know, if you're collecting whatever team it is, the secondary players, you're going to be able to pick them up, no problem. I mean, I look at I mean, again, I'm starting to dabble a little bit. Even have Brian Dawkins on my hit list, just a couple things, and his stuff is relatively cheap because, you know, if you're outside of a Philly fan, nobody really is going to care. So, you know, but to me, I'm like, oh, it's dope. You know? Yeah, heck of a player.
And when he would come out the tunnel on all 4s,
oh man,
Wolverine. He in his mind he transformed into an animal and he was ready to go to war.
Yeah, man.
And people, I'm telling you, people listen to that stuff and they think, oh, that guy's just talking. Now, Brian Dawkins wasn't just talking.
No. Nah. That was all, you know, he's like a preacher, bro. So when Brian says something, that he meant every word that he said. Absolutely. He was Weapon X.
That's a special player, man. Did we talk about the Super Bowl yet?
Not yet.
Nope, not yet.
So when at the beginning of the season, I still think Tampa Bay has a shot. I'm not giving up on Tampa Bay. But who do you all think? Sean, I know you got Philly probably coming out.
Yeah,
let me tell you something. I went to Mexico, right? Tony, when did I go? That was July.
Yeah, something like that.
It was, or maybe even before that. But I picked up these 2 items. So I picked up this Eagles helmet, right? And then this was in a shop in Mexico. And since I got these 2 things, the Eagles are undefeated. So these are my I bust these out. Yeah, I bust these out every game when I have them right aside of me. So if we lose, you know, one of these broke.
Oh, we got Philly's own love what you collect.
Yeah,
Erica.
how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Erica?
No, so as far as football, what I'm looking at, and I put it on record, we already had this discussion. 2 teams I picked was the Eagles and the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are when they got everything rolling, bro. That team is gonna be tough to beat. I mean, they just beat Kansas City, right?
Yeah. I still say Kansas City is not who people want them to be.
Nah, I mean, I think they're good, but I mean, now there's talk about OBJ and stuff like that, and I mean, I don't know that adding OBJ is the answer, but hey, it's better, I guess, than what they got.
I definitely knew adding Juju Smith-Schuster was not the answer.
Nah, man, Juju's just, man. Listen, man,
he's decent, but he's no Tyreek Hill.
Right, he's decent. He's a decent player.
Well, you see the numbers Tyreek's putting up in Miami. It's just crazy what that dude's doing with any quarterback.
when you run, now that's why I said that. But losing him is going to put a lot of stress on Mahomes because that guy stretched the field, so he opens up a lot. You can go deep to him, or the underneath is open. Now that may not be the case. So Mahomes, as you see, he has more to do. He has more homework. You got to understand some things more. And his fallout is still going to be his tight end.
You know what I'm saying? Just throw it to Kelsey 4 times. Here's 4 TDs for you.
Yeah, it'd be bad.
And that's why you got like Juju out there. He's a possession receiver.
Yeah.
And all these other guys, they're just not. They're not going to get that done.
Nah.
Yeah.
And I remember when Tyreek first started, he was raw. Like he was running routes like he was out in the backyard racing the cousins or something. Now he's actually running a route.
Yeah, for sure. But I was I for me it was Tampa and Buffalo. And that was before the Eagles were going on this run. But you can't count Tom Brady out. Like I said, he's like he's like that guy in the horror movie keeps coming back. But we'll see. Eagles definitely have an easy road to make it. As right now. So if everything they stay healthy and stuff like that, they have a very easy road to get a couple home games, and then you never know.
The road to the Super Bowl got to come through the link, baby.
That'll be interesting though. Let's look up. Hold up. Let me look up the Eagles season.
Bro, 17-0. Let me know right now.
You don't even gotta look it up. Nah, they'll be they got a big game Christmas Eve. So but and then the division games too. Those are always
listen, the Giants, I don't ever want to give them respect. And Rob, the sports card therapist, hit us up this morning, talk a little smack about his Giants.
What's up, Rob? Yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta get like a tip of the hat. They ain't the Eagles, but they beat Green Bay. Who did they just beat?
They beat Baltimore. So
Baltimore.
Gotta tip the hat.
They keep winning. Winning. The coach definitely makes a difference because Danny Dimes. I don't believe it.
Saquon's health is
yes.
Yeah, very much so.
Stay healthy because he's playing like a guy who was never hurt.
Yeah.
So Eagles this week have a bye week. Then they're back with Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, Indy, Green Bay, Tennessee, Giants, Chicago, Dallas, New Orleans, and the Giants.
So what's that? 17-0? Huh? Bro, tell me. Listen, I'm not saying we're gonna go 17-0, but tell me what team you're scared of there.
I would probably say maybe the Giants could step up and do something. This is all depending on the Eagles not coming in on a down, like coming in.
Yeah, I'm saying if the Eagles play their game, if the Eagles can play their game, right?
Nobody.
Yeah. That's what that's got. Now, if you had Kansas City on there, if you had Buffalo on there, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But the way the schedule is, I looked at it, and even the beginning of the season, I was telling Tony, because Tony always thinks I'm, smoking crack with the Philly, oh, you're too Philly. You're always, Mr. Pie in the sky. I'm like, bro, look at this schedule, dude. Even if we suck, we should go like 12-5, yo. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Listen, Oz's favorite athletes are the cheesesteak, the soft pretzel, the Liberty Bell, and Rocky. So he's always
you out there running the stairs, man.
Yeah. He's
you chasing chickens off.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, after I deliver the mail, that's my nightly routine, chasing the chickens.
Oh, we got Ricky House right.
I could be, like I said,
we'll take Philly down. Okay, I'm gonna write that down, Ricky. Ricky House right. I'm gonna give you a shout out.
He's sending this comment for the middle of Nashville right now.
Nice. All right. Nice. There's going to be a game or two where it's always
that's the NFL, that's football,
for sure.
But it ain't gonna be the Titans.
Let me ask you this question: do you all watch baseball?
Yes.
Sir.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got something going on in Philly.
I haven't watched baseball. I stay up on who's in what series and who's winning and what's going on. But like sitting down and watching a game.
Oh no, not like that. Yeah, not religiously like that. It's tough. That's a tough sport to watch, man. Now live all day, no problem.
Well, see, now when we were kids, right? That was the only sport I watched, really.
Yeah, it's different.
What do you think changed? What has changed? Have we changed?
We changed.
Has the society gotten quicker? Even when I go to a game, yeah, there you go. Even when I go to a game, I'll go with one of my sons and we'll sit there for maybe 3 innings. Then we're walking around for about 3 to 4 innings.
Yeah.
Looking at the stadium.
Yeah, I can sit there and watch a whole game live. I can do that. I will do, but on TV it's tough. Like between pitches, I can probably change the channel. I can go through 30 channels before you come back and do then pitch. Now the playoffs is different. Every pitch is like life and death. So that's the intensity holds my attention. Regular
Yeah.
season, it's
that's like hockey, playoff hockey. There's nothing like playoff hockey. There's nothing like playoff baseball, and it's like every play, every pitch. Man, these last couple games and just watching the Phillies being able to do what they do, just being the underdog. And even that first series when all 3 games are away, they're not even playing one in Philly, and to go and win that, and then now come, back against Atlanta, and then take the first one and, against San Diego. And we had a chance yesterday too. So they're on a roll. And it's like I always say, and I tell Tony, because he always, like I said, I'm Mr. Pie in the Sky, but I say, bro, we just got to get to the dance. If we can get in the dance, anything can happen. And that's more so with football, because it's one game, and it's a lot tougher when you get to the NBA. You got the 7-game series, the talent usually wins, but things like baseball, you get a couple hot pitchers and some timely hitting, anything can happen.
True. Even from unknown player.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what it usually is.
Did y'all play sports growing up?
Yes. I played everything.
What sports you play?
I played, my favorite was basketball. I played into college. I played football. I ran track. I never played baseball. I messed around with baseball. Never played it not professionally, but school wise. No hockey.
There's no hockey rinks in there.
But messing around, we played everything. And Tony played. It was just we would always play in the parking lot. We would play baseball.
Lot, baby. Yeah. It was a parking lot was a multi-purpose field.
Yeah, football, two-hand touch.
Yeah.
Two-hand touch would take things to another level.
Yeah. Well, usually somebody got pushed into the tree or the wall and things like that. But hey, man, we're here, and after we're done, we go drink out of the hose in the back. And here we are.
People forget those days. I talk about that all the time. Drinking out the hose, man.
Yeah, man.
Those were the days.
Yeah. None of that.
And these days are done. I never forget I was on the track team throwing shot and discus. And they used to have us in Chicago on the south side run from 95th Street. This is a long distance down to 111th. And in that run, you get tired. You may go behind somebody's house to turn on that water and drink out the hose.
That's the best.
That's the best, bro. Yeah, on the head. That probably never happens today.
No. Now in the summertime, it was a little hit or miss. If you got a little too excited and you didn't let the water run through it, the hose, you
heat wave, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, man, none of that filtered. None of those filtered bottles and none of that stuff.
None of that. So what shows do you all plan on going to coming up? Are you? I know I've talked to some people. It's like, hey, I'm gonna take the end of the year off, do some other stuff, come back in 2023. What do you all think?
Yeah, I actually don't. Off the top, not really. I mean, I know there's this weekend coming up. There's a show. I actually got to get to that. It's Chantilly. It's in Virginia.
Oh yeah. I know a few people that's going there. Bambino Sports is going.
Yeah. So I definitely got to get out to that show at some point. But you know what? It's probably going to be a little bit for me. I'll still continue probably buying online. Mm-hmm. But as far as a show, it might be taking the rest of the year off.
Yeah. So. Continue to buy eBay and things like that. Now, as far as I've started to collect toys a lot. So He-Man, G.I. Joe, mainly, crazy He-Man stuff.
Okay.
So this is one thing that I picked up at the RetroCon.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But, that's what we grew up on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so things like that. So I'm looking, toy shows, because my cousin, our other cousin Los the Collector, he has his own thing, and I mean he's crazy far and above beyond what I have as far as toys are, but he's always hitting up shows. So we're definitely gonna continue to do that, and then probably every once in a while, Philly show, and we're gonna support Brett at the Fishtown Card Show as well. So. Yeah. It's just, but it's not like you guys, like I said, in the West Coast, we get on IG and it's like every day there's something new. And I'm just like, man, that's like a whole different vibe out there, bro, when it comes to the hobby.
Oh, last week there was a Del Mar show about a Union Marketplace, 20 minutes or so north of San Diego. And then the Burbank show happened recently. The next one's coming Super Bowl weekend. People are going to be getting ready for that. And then the premiere show, which is hosted by Jay and Kobe, it's going to be coming up at the end of this year. So, yeah, there are always shows. And then AJ has a show. There are different shows that day.
Yeah, so we live vicariously through Sarah from Sarah Breaks, Mama Breaks, and the great curator.
Hey, and by the way, congrats on being the host of all that stuff
Thank
out
you.
there, man.
Thank you.
How was that for you?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was a great learning experience for me. I told people, some people came by the center stage and asked me early in the show, like, "Hey, FD, how's it going?" It's a learning experience because usually I go to shows and I'm walking looking at cards.
Yeah.
I was trying to focus on the engagement with the people that were there. What announcements are we making? I interviewed 6 or 7 people at the show. It was just cool. It was cool to, and I had the opportunity with Wiley and Alex to kind of set up the interviews, who I was going to talk to. I sent them questions previously, like I did you all.
Yeah.
So they were kind of informed on what direction we were going to go in. I asked them some questions. Each person probably 1 or 2 questions that weren't on the sheet. I like to do that to be genuine, but keep it focused on the road that we're going down. Yes. I don't usually go and start asking someone about something over here. It's pretty much about the hobby. What do you think? Insight, things like that. And I like to get different people's insights to let people know that we all can have our own voice. Like when I asked you all today, what are you all thinking? I'm not looking for a cookie cutter answer. I want to know what Tony and Oz actually think. Yeah. And it'll touch people, I think, because there are other people out there who may think, well, people aren't concerned about what I think about the strategy of the hobby going forward. It's more than just the YouTubers or the influencers that may have a lot of subscribers. We all have a hand in what's going on. But going back to that Delmar show, that was a great learning experience. I mean, even getting down to how to properly talk into a microphone. There was just a bunch of stuff that was good. And I think it was good to see people in person while you're interviewing them or talking to them. And then we even took a step further. Like we grabbed the microphone and went out to tables. And so Tony and Oz, you're set up. I will come by and talk to you. Nice. I'm going to do more of that. I would love to do that with the union going forward. It was much fun to me. And it was an honor to be involved in it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that I'm missing. I'm FOMOing on that experience on the West Coast because you guys have those opportunities where it's not so much over here. So take advantage of that because not everybody has those types of things that they're able to do.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I appreciate the advice. I also want to ask you, are you thinking about going to the National in Chicago?
Oh yeah, it's going down.
Oh. Yeah, man.
I'm totally considering it too. I can't wait to meet you all in person.
Oh, heck yeah, man. We'll be rolling. But no, yeah, that. I mean, supposedly we're gonna see because everybody was complaining because it was too far east, so now it's right in the middle of the country. So I better see everybody out there, all those logistical nightmare people.
Well, 2021 was pretty nice. I went to the one in 2021.
Nice.
It was pretty nice. I think Rosemont is a great place. It's a neutral site. For people all over the country. There are things to do. You can stay in Rosemont. You could plan to go to a Cubs game or White Sox game if they're in town. Or go downtown in general to do other stuff. So
yeah, that's what's up.
We got our peeps, Courtney and Jeremy and Manny from Reckless Cars and the Too Thick podcast that said we can stay at the crib. So that's what we're gonna do.
There you go. Come by there, hang out with you all.
Yeah, man. We're inviting more people over.
Yeah, we come kick it, bro. So USA Patriot Card says FD is Jason Tatum a buy. He seems like he is. I purchased 1 or 2 Jason Tatum cards. I still have them. Me personally, I don't know what you all think. I just want to see more dog out of Jason Tatum. I want to see what it's made of.
Yeah. When it comes to, I think he came up small in the finals.
Yeah, big time.
Up until that point, he was balling.
He balled again over the night, 34 points.
Yeah. He gave it to the Sixers, him and his boys. So it's like, is he a buy? What are his prices now? Have you looked at his market? Is he down or because I know he was high for a while.
He was down after the finals. His card
they
didn't drop way off.
I was about to say, is it too late? Because I mean, he comes out and drops 35. I mean, maybe something you can.
What does he have to do for his market to explode? Is it win a championship?
Has to show either win a championship or put that team on his back.
Yeah, but I mean, he kind of did that last year.
He did it against Brooklyn. But when he got to the Golden State Warriors, man.
Yeah, because I think that hype, like my thing is with a lot of these players, like Jason Tatum, since he's already how many years he been in the league? It's like 6 now.
Something like that.
Yeah, so he's not that first, second, third year rookie, you know, like the Zion with all that potential. Like, how many years do you have before that prospect label gets, you know, tossed to the side and you are who you are?
For me, 6 to 8 years. After that, you're pretty much who you are.
Yeah. Okay. And he's still, you know, I listen, I love Jason Tatum's game, but he's not Kobe Bryant. Can we stop with the Kobe Bryant just because he messed around with him and they did, you know, they practiced together?
Oh, because he put an armband on?
Yeah, no, yeah. They the one time he went to, you know, the Mamba camp or whatever, and they was working out, and all of a sudden Jason Tatum's Kobe Bryant. No.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but when he came out in game 1 with the Kobe wristband on his front, I was like, this series is over. I'm just from that place, man. This is over.
Just be you, man.
Just be you, bro. Just be you.
Yeah. So, but you know, the ESPN, everybody, they hype that up. You know, that's like the main thing. They want to make him the next Mamba. It's like, yo, Kobe's Kobe. Rest in peace, Kobe, and let Jason do his thing, because there's no comparison in my eyes when it comes to the two. Now, Jason can build and forge his own path, and you know, if you want to buy his cards, like I said, I think his market, it has the potential. You can get it, like, you know, especially now with the dip, there's cards out there that you can get in any player, you know. And if you like that player, the main thing you say is Jason Tatum a buy? Is he a buy? Yes, but do you love that player? Is that somebody, like, if he doesn't make it, will you be happy having that card that you just purchased? Or are you just, you know, looking to flip? If you're looking to flip, that's a whole different story. But yeah, he's a buy, because I believe like he's going to be carrying the Celtics all year long. They're going to be contenders. God forbid, you know, there's no injuries, but if he could stay healthy, Jason Tatum's going to be a player. He's going to be a baller. He's proven it. Yeah.
What do you all think about that's so I ask this question sometimes because there are a lot of people in the hobby. We got a question about a particular player. We could be anywhere. Somebody may ask us about a particular player. And if I answer or someone else answers, or then people will say, well, I'm going to go buy that player because XYZ told me that. What are your thoughts on that compared to building a strategy? And I always like to watch sports, right? I like to watch. I don't like to look at a stat line. And I tell people this all the time. I'm going to give these a little bit of gems out. On ESPN, after every game, there's a 7 to 10 minute short clip, movie they call it, of every game. You don't even have to watch the game. Mm-hmm. You can sit down and watch that clip. I like to understand how players score points. How do they score the touchdown? How do they win the game? What adversity did they overcome? So my question is, those that listen and buy compared to those who build a strategy. Can you just speak to that?
If you, for me, and if you listen and buy, you're probably going to lose, in the sense of like, you're probably not going to have a good time in the hobby, because you're just blindly following somebody who, I mean, all right, FD, if you say, yo, buy, let's just say Steph Curry, right? FD's saying buy Steph Curry, and you're not watching him, like, he could be terrible or whatever. Like, you know, you're just buying stuff, and you're just like, you really, the biggest thing, like we always hear, do your research, dude, you watch the game. Like, Oz will probably talk, because I see his eyes light up, because he's always like, dude, these guys are not watching the game. It's a narrative or whatever, and they're just following suit. It's like, dude, just watch. And you said, yo, look, if you can watch it in 7 minutes, then that's great. That's even better. That's for the ADHD society that we live in today. That's perfect, you know. But you really, if you can watch the game, you'll definitely appreciate. You'll learn how the player does score or whatever, plays deep, whatever it is that you're looking at to invest in or collect. And it's going to be in the long run, it's probably going to be a much better experience.
Yeah. And the thing is, listen, we always want to trust. We have our people that we trust in the hobby, but there's a lot of influencers out there, and you don't know their motives. They could be holding a ton of Jason Tatum or a particular player, and because they've been waiting to unleash it, you know, maybe for selfish reasons and greed, they may be like, yeah, buy this. And next thing you know, they put them all on eBay just to get rid of them. And, you know, a lot of their followers that are listening to these people, then they go ahead, you know, that's the whole quote unquote pump and dump. So you really got to do your homework. And again, it goes back to make purchases, not so much with, like you said, listening to people, but things that you love, because at the end of the day, nothing's set in stone. There's no guarantee. We could buy Jason Tatum today, and Jason Tatum can go tomorrow and blow out his ACL. Like, I don't wish that on him, but that could happen. And he could do that, and he could probably play for another 3-4 years, but he might never be the same. So make sure that whatever you're purchasing, you do your homework, and it's a person or an individual that you love watching play, because you're going to get that enjoyment out of it. Because if you're just purchasing it because somebody told you to, like Tony said, you may win big, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose big.
I agree with that. What about grading companies? I know you all said you sent some cars in. Are there some grading companies that you're more fond of than others? If there are, speak to why. Let us know your kind of grading story.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, obviously the hobby darling is PSA. There's no denying it. You get a PSA slab, you're gonna get the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to that. And for the longest time, obviously they fell behind, and the prices kept going up, and the with the pandemic, prices were just ridiculous. So I had cards upon cards upon cards that I've been sitting on for a couple years, just waiting to see if either PSA would come down in price, or I was just going to get ready to submit those same cards that I was talking about to SGC, because they were just the best deal around. And they've gotten, over the years, respect. They're not where PSA is, but they're definitely holding their own against them. But now with the price wars, the way everything's coming, down, was it $18 now for a group submission for PSA? So, can't really beat that. You got some TCG cards, you can get them at $15 a pop. So, I mean, it just makes sense now. So if you were sitting on any wax that you just want to get graded, or even for your PC, yeah, you might as well send them out now. So, and to me, if it's something that I've had for a while that that really doesn't have to do with my PC, I'm not going to get that graded. But if it's a particular card that I, say an Allen Iverson that I've been having just sitting around, for example, I sent this one, the Dallas card review. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
So it says it should get a 9. It's the molten metal Allen Iverson. So I've been sitting on this card for 2 years now. And there's a bunch of these that I have that I'm going to be sending in, the freaking Jordan,
Yeah.
So, cards like that, definitely going to send them in. And, those are worth sending in to get graded, get them slabbed, get them out of here, and put them in a nice protective thing. And, depending on what you're trying to do, if you're flipping or anything like that, obviously you want to try to make the most amount of money. If you bought a lot and you got it for cheap, and now you got a couple cards, you can send them in, and then you can go ahead and sell them and make a profit that way.
And I think that, like, if you with the SGC, right, it's obviously a better, I think it's cheaper, right? I believe. Yeah. And again, like you said, PSA is going to give you a bang for your buck, but like, I wouldn't be opposed to if I have a set of lower end stuff, I would send it to them and let them, and heck, they're gonna get it. I'm gonna get it back a lot faster. So I mean, it also depends on what you're looking to do. But yeah, it's gonna be always, I mean, PSA until somebody, I mean, geez, every time I look, there's another grading company that pops up. So that's a whole nother conversation. But PSA is gonna give you most bang for your buck. I mean, you just got to wait a while. But I mean, that's where we send our stuff, and it'll probably continue to be that way until, I don't know, maybe something. And I think the prices are going to get even better.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think so.
I primarily send to PSA unless it's a thicker card that has some attributes that I think I may get a better grade at Beckett, BGS.
Beckett, yeah.
But I'm not off the table with SGC or anyone else. I buy SGC cards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? It's funny because I got my Beckett cards, I got my SGC cards and PSA. So it's just, you want to, again, buy the card, not the slab. If you see a card that it looks good, and then you can get it, you could always crack. I mean, I don't recommend cracking it out, but you could always, cross it over if you want.
YTFP Chris says PSA is a staple, even though they either give or way higher grades for lower stuff or tighten down the hatches, and you're going to get a 9 no matter what. PSA will always be the standard. Then he also says CGC has nice slab colors and clarity for Pokemon or art cards, and their subgrading is nice, premium. Beckett is nice for certain cards if the black label or gold label matches the art of the card. I agree with that.
Yes,
People love gold cards, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's like that's like the treasure of the hobby.
That's hobby. That's hobby crack right there.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, I really enjoy talking to you both.
Appreciate
I gotta
it.
have you on more often.
No doubt. We gotta be rolling with FD every week, baby.
We gotta have y'all on all the time, man.
We doing this. Yeah, we definitely gonna have you come on our show, man, because yeah, we can
I would
always
love to.
oh,
you
absolutely. 100%, man. We you know, we like I said, we're gonna be rolling, baby.
Yeah, I could be on any. I'm the kind of person, man. You tell me 24 hours in advance.
Oh, we
Hey,
making
can you be on this day? Yep, I'm up in there. I enjoy it.
We can use that.
I like the rapport that I have with you all, and it's easy to talk to you. And I really love having conversations about sports and the hobby.
Yes,
I think they connect more than people actually think they connect.
Yeah.
You know, some people I know buying big cars. You talk to them about the player and the sport and the glass guy.
Yeah, man. See, that's
I had no idea.
Yeah, that goes back to Oz's thing is just the narratives and things like that, and people just and you know, I guess that's the basis of what we do on our show, man. We don't, it's not a lot of value-based conversations. There's plenty of people doing that. It's more it's more the what do those cards mean to you, or what are you doing? And we talk to collectors all the time, and we have a blast. Everybody has a similar origin story, but everybody's just a little bit different in the things that they do and how they go about their collecting habits. And we love those stories, man.
Yep.
What made y'all want to start a podcast?
We were bored.
Honestly, we started collecting, right? Yeah. And our other cousin, he was doing a sports podcast, and it was nothing big, but he's doing it. And then Tony's like, "Yo, we should do a podcast." I was like, "Bro, we have no experience. What are we gonna talk about?" He's like, "We could just talk about cars. We listen to podcasts every day, especially me with being a mailman. That's all I do. I got my earbuds in, and for 12 hours straight, I was just listening to all the content. So I'm grabbing everything. Cousin John Newman, we got Car Talk, we got Rob Sports Car Therapist, The Bounce, this, that, and the third, rolling with FD in the house. So I'm getting all this content, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think we could do this, because now, once you start getting that knowledge, we already have the passion, and we watch sports.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, we could just bounce each other, and it's like, okay, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. And just little by little, we started doing it, and we started setting goals, and we started hitting those goals, and here we are.
Well, I think that crosses over to me too. I love talking sports. I enjoy talking to hobby with people. I like talking to people in general. I like building relationships, and I always think of the conversations that we have here with different people allows us to build relationships with people throughout the hobby, have conversations with them. Like I'm already thinking I like to think forward. I would love to be at the National doing something with you all.
Word. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
Listen.
We're gonna have more conversations about that.
Listen, your question right here about where do you see the hobby in the next 1 to 2 years. So that was my stock answer with the whole, people moving stuff. But the real answer, man, is like this right here. This needs to happen more often.
I agree.
Let's be honest, right? What we see on stage, it's the same old stuff, and whatever. It's okay for the hobby to evolve, and just little different things like this. This resonates to me, at least. I mean, sometimes I see some of the content, I'm like, man, what the heck? But it is what it is. But I mean, like this conversation that we're having now, to me, it's a blast, and I could this is something I could do every day, no problem.
I totally agree. And that's why I wanted to start the channel, because I grew up on the south side of Chicago. When I went to school, it wasn't popular to start talking about. I went to a car show this weekend, or I got Dick Buckets' autograph. People are looking like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then my father was instrumental. My mom and my dad were instrumental. My father was retired early and would take me to shows. And he was the person that telling me about older players, Jim Brown, Lou Brock, Bob Gibson, older players. And when I was getting an autograph, he was telling me certain things about them to try to get them to sign it as an inscription. And this was before there was something called an inscription, and before anybody was charging for something called an inscription. Dale Sayers, I remember meeting, and different players. So I wanted to tell my story. I was looking around and looking at on YouTube and seeing other people telling the story, but it wasn't my story. So I always said that I didn't want to wait around and start complaining about why do I want to tell my story? I might as well get up and tell it myself. Yeah. And just so you all know, my son G does all the filming when we go to a show, and he does all the editing. So we started. He was 16, now he's 18. And when he was a kid, he loved making stop motion movies with like Lego toys. Okay. So we started talking here as a family. I was expressing more and more about what I wanted to do with a channel. And then we started talking about who's going to be your editor, because that's kind of like a big question. Mm-hmm. You know, who is someone that you really can trust, you rely in, y'all have a certain vision, you can talk about stuff on a consistent basis. So we went out the first day, went to 3 different places. I didn't know what I was doing either. I just knew that I wanted to talk to folks about stuff. So I just started doing that. And I challenged myself each, what's the flavor or what's the play? When I'm talking to people, I try, even when I was doing the stuff at Del Mar, as far as the host, I try to challenge myself to get better each conversation that I have and get to know the people that I'm talking to and find out more about their background and then tie that into the conversation. That's just what I used to do in sales. But we all know that the more you do podcasts, things, and it's just like anything else, lifting weights, running, jumping, all kind of stuff. As an athlete, it becomes more common to you. I remember the first time we went out to a show, I turned, and G has the camera. To turn and look at that cameraman was super weird to me, But now to turn and I try to have more conversations with the people that are watching is more natural because I'm kind of used to it. So I'm glad that at this point we had this conversation, because I feel like I could bring more to this conversation than I probably could have brought 4 months ago.
No doubt. It's just about honing the craft, and like you said, with each conversation, you just become more comfortable. And like I talked about, if you ever listen to my older podcast, like for me, I'm an introvert. So
I would have never thought that.
Bro, trust me, man. When I was younger, I was the shyest, and I just felt like like whatever I had to say, nobody cared. And a lot of that came from just, I don't want to put my brother on blast, but I'm gonna do it. My older brother, Danny Boy, was a couple years older than me. He was the middle child. So my oldest brother would take care of me, but the second in command would beat my ass. And he would make sure he did it in front of my friends and put me down. And to the point where I was just, I was a defeated individual. So I would be, the leader of my group, my little clan. And then I think I'm all high and mighty. And here he comes. And it's like, ooh, make me feel this small. And I'm like, damn. So it took me years to get over that. And it's something that I had to work. And I appreciate you saying that, man, because it's definitely, this podcast has helped me, find something inside of me that I never knew I had.
It does that, man. It does that. Now, most people, I was telling, I bumped into a 12-year-old at the Del Mar show that I had seen before, and we were talking. I was telling him, he set up at his own table, making deals, has cars in front of him. I couldn't have done that at 12.
No, hell no.
And he was kind of looking at me like, really? I was like, bro, I appreciate you, because when you see people doing stuff that you felt like you couldn't do at that age, and I was the kind of person, man, I had to like kind of watch a person to see if I thought they was cool enough for me to be around them, or go up and talk to them or trust them on that level. That's what I really mean. And my son is 6, about to be 7 in December. He's not like that. If he met y'all, man, we were someplace that he met both of y'all, he's talking to you, shaking your hand, coming up, sitting by you. He knows no stranger. So when I those attributes in our young people, I like to commend them on that. And let them know that the individual that you see now that may be grown, you have surpassed that in a way about your ability with whatever, phones, computers, whatever it may be, to open yourself up more to, taking steps to be an adult one day and be a savvy adult at that. So, and that's another thing that the hobby brings, because our young people are involved in the hobby. And they look at people to see. There's going to be people that see Tony and Oz and watch you at a show, see how you moving. What do you do? What do you say? People that do the same thing with me. What is FD doing? How does he conduct himself? And when you're on camera, off camera, it doesn't really matter. How are you conducting yourself? I like to walk in the building and be thoroughly engaged in what's happening in the hobby in here. I'm just really being myself. I'm not up in here putting a pose on or becoming somebody else. I'm just being myself. And I think that the more we have our young people with more experienced people in a hobby, and we marry that together, it's going to be a better place to be.
Yeah, man. It's like I always say, listen, the hobby allows me to be the nerd that I am. You know what I mean? And I'm not ashamed of it. You know, where I was when I was younger and I would just be playing my video games or messing around with my toys or, even collecting my junk wax back in the day. I just kept that all to myself. And again, that the environment that you're in, that you grow up, you don't even, it's not even something you would talk about with other people because it didn't exist. It just wasn't in anybody's mentality. So now you got older, we got some disposable income, and cousin Tony are rocking and rolling. And it's like, now, let's get on this podcast. And now I can be, like I said, this part of me, I can be me, and people like love it and they accept it. And it's like, man, this hobby is that's what makes this hobby so wonderful and so good. And that's what we try to preach every episode. And that's what we hope to, that we're coming across when we have our episodes.
Well, we're about the same age. We learned earlier today. And when you reached over and pulled out He-Man, I got excited.
Yes, sir.
That was bomb, bro. I remember going down to my grandmother's house in Mississippi. And we turned on He-Man, my brother now.
Yeah.
What is this? I was like, that was a jam for us.
Bro, I love He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, all those Jones. Yeah, man.
You know what? I really appreciate y'all, man. For real, though. I have you back on. I would love to get on your show.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Let's start thinking about something that we want to try to do at the National.
Let's do it.
Happen. Building that table, baby.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be real nice. And
East Coast, West Coast. Bury all the hate.
It's all good. Via Chicago. It's all good.
There you go. Meeting in the middle.
Let's go.
Oz and Tony, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all being on here. It's been good to meet you all and get to know you a lot better. Again, like I told you before, my girlfriend, April, I want to give her a shout out. She will go through sometimes and look at different people doing different things. And I know when I get off here, she's going to say, I appreciate you saying that. She said months ago, now I'm not making this up, you need to talk to these two guys.
Thank you, April.
Shout out to April.
Yeah, we need to get to know these two guys. And she would ask me periodically, have you contacted them yet? Have you asked them any questions about coming on? I know they would. And when I saw you all at the National and just with different people and saying what's up and taking pictures, this, that, and the other, I could feel the vibe through those pictures. I kind of knew what this conversation would be like, but I want to let you both know that it's even on top of what I thought originally.
Appreciate
high
that.
praise. That's high praise. We appreciate that, man. Because
April and Erica know each other. And Erica wants to give her a shout out too. But it's cool, man. It's cool. And Mr. Thomas is here. He's my 100 subscriber. He said, "Love hearing conversations with collectors over seeing Flippers videos. This is how we began with collectors, and that is what it always will be. Salute to y'all, and enjoy true conversation."
Beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Y'all two brothers, I appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Now, before we go, I do this so I can add you to the intro.
Oh, yeah. Yo, I'm stepping back.
So I'm going to ask, hey, Tony and Oz, who you rolling with? Then y'all
we rolling with FD, baby. You got Cousin Oz, the people's mailman, Cousin Tony, the architect. You know how we do. Hey, yo, Cousin FD, take it away, brother.
I appreciate y'all. And we're rolling. I'll talk to y'all soon. You'll get some messages from me. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
All right, bros.